Good night, everybody. And tonight's story is called From Cork with Love, Miah, Sean, and Liam. And it's written by Louis de Paor. Like every other year, you might say 1973 was a big year for Cork. Jimmy Barry Murphy was 19 and scored 2 goals when we beat Galway in the All-Ireland football final. Miah Dennehy came on as a sub when Brazil played an All-Ireland soccer team, brought together by Johnny Giles and Derek Duggan, a Belfast Protestant who played with Wolverhampton Wanderers and fought hard for the rights of his fellow players in England. Pele's comrades from the 1970 World Cup, Jairzinho and Rivellino, were there that day in Lansdowne Road. We had Pat Jennings and Martin O'Neill, Giles and Don Givens. And Miah Dennehy from Cork, the first player ever to score a hat-trick in an FAI Cup final when Cork Hibernians beat Waterford United in 1972. I remember the excitement as we followed him through Perk's Amusement Arcade in Ardmore. The delight when my father said he'd go into Rooney's pub after him to get me his autograph. We knew it spelled trouble for the Republic of Ireland when they only picked Miah 11 times in the national soccer team. Ireland always lost when there was an anti-Cork bias in the mix, from Kinsale to Saipan. In 1973, Eamon de Valera left Ars an Uachtaráin, and I finished national school. We joined the EEC, and the government ended the Irish language requirement in state examinations in the public service. In his column in the Irish Times, the poet Sean O'Riordan declared the era of the Gambeen man had arrived. Anyone who failed to understand that the principal attribute of a politician was the ability to renege on his word had no place in Irish politics now, he said. Unlike the philosophers of the New Deceit in the South, who blamed Irish in the Angelus for the bloodletting in the North, he said there was a blunt truth in the words of Bernadette Devlin and Ian Paisley. They were like children who say rude things, he said. The more truth there is in it, what the child says, the more it upsets the parents. As for the revision that was planned for teaching history in Irish schools, history is not something to be manipulated by any government, he said, any more than science is. If we can't proceed without toning down the truth, we're finished. Unlike the politicians who gave no word of hope to people in the North, O'Riordan argued that Coslet Quinn, a Gaelic scholar and Church of Ireland minister from Derry, was doing his utmost to show that the Irish language was part of the history and inheritance of his own people north of the border. Irish was an alternative intelligence, according to O'Riordan, an independent vantage point, and a necessary defence against the monocultural imperialism transmitted by those in power in Dublin and Brussels. For all the official disrespect for the language, O'Riordan saw signs that a modern Irish language civilization was beginning to clarify itself in the poetry journal Inti. Among the young poets who read their work to an audience of up to 1,000 people at the launch of the third issue of the journal in the Vienna Woods Hotel in Cork in May 1973, O'Riordan mentioned Liam O'Murtal, who died in May 2018. O'Murtal, he said, exemplified an alternative civilization that was establishing itself quietly despite the opposition of those in power. Like the two Seans, O'Riordan and O'Riordan, who lie close to him in St. Gobnet's Cemetery in Ballymuirna, O'Murtal taught us how to bridge the gap and heal the wound between Irish and English, Ireland and Europe, between the two sides of the river itself, inside ourselves. You were born between two rivers and times, holding on to the banks of that no man's lang. You claimed with the blood and sweat of your pen, coming ashore in the fork between two streams, where you found your home, a shaky bridge of words we walk with you and after you. We have it now, that part of ourselves you showed us in verse before you left with the best of our heroes to enter that school where we're still learning to speak and sing while you and they are under clay and rock. ó riorda ó riordan ó myrtle, Cork. Good night, everybody, and stay safe.